Hello, my name is Madeline Drinovac, and this is my video submission for my final report for Computer Eng 2DP4. So the purpose of this project is to use the Arduino to create a system where you can measure the angle inclination of whatever you're moving, in this case a breadboard, using an accelerometer. So from this accelerometer, it outputs an analog signal from an x-axis channel and a y-axis channel to the Arduino, which then accepts it and does a conversion to digital so that we can then process and do calculations such as linear approximation. It then sends our finished data to the computer so that we can graph it on MATLAB live so we can see the angle changing as it's changing in real life. So the three specifications based on my student number, because my least significant digit is 4, is I have to use channel 7 to accept x-axis data. I have to use a 10-bit resolution and a 4 megahertz bus speed. So from those three parameters, I then had to change my serial communication speed, mostly because of my bus speed. And I had to change, which is essentially the bus baud rate, sorry. I used 19,200. The reason being is because anything higher created a too big of an error. I ran these numbers depending on different divisors in MATLAB, and I have the details of that in my final report. So you can look at that in further detail. So I will now show you my setup and how my system works. So here's my Arduino. There's the serial number, 19E53. Here's the breadboard. It has the 8 LEDs that show the BCD, number of the angle. Here are my 2 push buttons. This right one does the switch between mode 0 and 1, and this one that doesn't exist right now terminates data transmission to the computer, well, to the board. But the big problem is I only have one push button because my other one broke down, and due to circumstances, I cannot get another one. But it's okay because I can just switch this over and show you anyways, so I hope that is okay. Here is the accelerometer. These are the 2 data cables for the X and the Y, and they go to channels 7 and 6. So I had already downloaded my program or loaded it onto the Arduino using the BDM. I've now switched to the USB power so that I can access the 3.3 volts using the JB7 jumper because this is a 3-volt device. Sorry, my fingers are weird colors. I was painting eggs today. Here's my MATLAB program. I just want to point out that I have COM4 here. Your computer may be different. That is the only thing you'll have to change. If yours registers as COM6 or whatever COM port it registers as, you'll have to change that. But otherwise, it should run smoothly. So I can now run this program. My bad. I will run the live angle program. Sorry, and I can see at the bottom here that you'll have the x-axis, which is reading right now. It's a little off just because my breadboard's uneven and on this weird wood floor, but it's close to 0. So you'll see as I tilt the breadboard up, you'll see the angle on the screen go up. Well, now we're at about getting towards 90. Sorry, it's hard to hold. And you'll see it's at the very top of the graph, which is 100 degrees. So my graph goes from 0 to 100. So now, as you can see, we're at about 50-ish, just above 50. So you'll see my BCD. You have it alternating here. So the first 4, you'll see the second and fourth one on. That indicates 5. And then the 1 is flashing at the very bottom because we're at 50, 51 right now. Right? It's hard to hold steady. And then we'll go down to here, and we're showing a 10 something, so you'll see only the 1 light's on in the first 4, and then it's alternating the last 4 because we're at about we're about 8, 9, right, as you can see here. So now using this button I can switch modes, and now you can see on the graph this is the y-axis. So as I tilt up, my angle goes up on the graph, nice and smooth all the way to 90. And then you can see the BCDs are also changing in the bottom right corner. So what I will do is I'll hover it at about 35. And you'll see the numbers here indicating, about a 35. I know it's pretty hard to see. I apologize. Right, so as I go down and as I go up. So at the bottom here, I'll show you another BCD. We're at about 3 degrees or so due to the wobbly board. And you'll see it alternating here, actually. You go 3, 4. Or, yeah, 3, 4. You'll see it changing quickly. Go up slightly. Get about a 6. Then we start getting into the 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now I'm going to have to move this push button over to show you my stop in data transmission. So still transmitting right now. When I press the button, oh, I didn't even show you. Okay, so this starts it back up. So as you can see, it's transmitting because it's at a constant 3, 4 degrees. And then when I press this button, it starts transmitting 0. This works for both the modes. Right now we're in Y mode. So we'll start transmission again. And that is pretty much my entire project. All that work for that. So